Eugene Dillanado has always been a storyteller since I was a young child. And it's kind of funny to me sometimes when I have total strangers who will share their stories with me. It's almost like a priest. It's almost like as a child, as a student, people would share their secrets with me, and as if they knew that I could keep a secret. And I could, and I delighted in it. And so as I started, I remember I was in 5th grade, and that was the first time that a teacher challenged me to do a book report. I had never done a book report before. And it was in that moment that I realized the power of writing. And the book report was on the wonderful world of Walter Mitty. And if you know anything about that story, Walter would daydream and imagine that he was here, there, and everywhere. And so it was in that moment that it clicked for me that writing could take me anywhere I wanted to go. And so from that point, it just continued, and I began to master the craft of writing. So here we are now, and people like Sandra Rhimes and Oprah and Tyler Perry have created industries that are critical for us African Americans, because for me, that is the missing link, telling your story. It enables you to hone in on the value that you bring to the table. Now, I'm holding up the book, Brother and Sister. It's one of the books that I wrote. So people ask me, Eugene, why did you write Brother and Sister? I wrote Brother and Sister because it was my parents, my grandparents, my extended family who gave me everything that I have today, who gave me an enormous advantage when I was just a youngster. Number one, they loved me unconditionally. And number two, they expected me to go much further than they had gone. And so, as a youngster, I can tell you I did not appreciate my parents. I was not the best son. I did not realize until after they had transformed back to spirit what they had given me. So, writing Brother and Sister gave me an opportunity to reconnect with them and to tell their story and to realize the great power that it gives you, because upon writing the story, I realized just how powerful they are, because nothing ever dies. It appears to transition from the physical back to the liquid, back to air, but those spirits are still with us. And so in that field of acting, let's say a Denzel Washington, for him to really be the epitome of that role, he has to get in the spirit of the character who he is portraying. So Brother and Sister is an epic story about the rise in power, health, happiness, wealth, and wisdom of Black Chicagoans from 1900 to infinity. And so you can get this book if you go to kingeugene.com. Now I said kingeugene.com. So yes, I consider myself a king. And if you don't consider yourself a king or a queen or an infinite being that speaks whatever he or she wants into existence, that's on you. Because let's talk about Brother and Sister a little bit, and one of the portions of the book where I talk about chattel slavery. And I mentioned in the book that what was critical in chattel slavery was they had to convince that individual that he or she was a slave. So they had to take his or her name. They had to take his or her identity. So one of my mentors is the legendary Reverend Ike. And I didn't appreciate Reverend Ike when he was, again, alive physically. I didn't start to get connected to Reverend Ike until I started to tune in into his YouTube channel. And so Reverend Ike says, who do you think you are? Those of you who are watching this, who do you think you are? Because whoever you think you are dictates, as my mentor Arnett French says, where you're going to go in life. Are you a pygmy or are you a giant? Do you need to get approval from others, or do really you not care about the opinions of others because you know that you are not other people's opinions? So, this is book 1 of Brother and Sister. And Brother and Sister tells the story of the many pitfalls that brother fell in as he attempted to realize his dreams. And so what brother and sister did over and over again, when they fell down, they got up. And they learned a bunch of stuff by making mistakes. Mistakes provide you with a clue for how to get the most out of a situation if you get your butt up. If you recognize that there are no mistakes, that mistake, that error can make you better. And so along the way, I began to get better and to realize that it was a process. So then I didn't fear making a so-called mistake. I realized that making a mistake was part of the learning process. So here again we are in 2021, and we all know that last year was a heck of a year. And I started writing this book, Brother and Sister, during the coronavirus. And so I decided when I started writing that I was going to thrive through this period, that I was not going to succumb to the coronavirus, the swine flu, or any virus that came my way. I decided then and there that I was going to continue to share my stories and to urge you to get better and to get better with the life that you are seeking. So again, go to kingeugene.com. Make sure that you get a copy of Brother and Sister. Make sure that you decide in the year 2021 that this is going to be your year, that you're going to maximize each moment, that you're going to realize that you control those states, whether it is a state where you want to whine and complain about what you don't have, what you didn't do, or whether you're going to do like my man Tony Robbins does and master those states and decide that you can put yourself by simply pushing your shoulders back, lifting your head up, and laughing at that moment when you fell down, and decide that you're going to get up and that you're going to use this moment to maximize your life and to be all that you can be. So that's what Brother and Sister is filled with. It's filled with moments when the characters that you're going to encounter did what we used to do in the 1950s and 60s. We shared information, we shared and loved each other, and this book is dedicated to all of those baby boomers that are out there. And to say to you who are baby boomers, who did a great job with your children, who did a great job with your grandchildren, let's take this moment and decide to leave a legacy and a dynasty behind us so that our children recognize just how great we are. Thank you.